So, for all 4 shows, there's only one that I'm not going to make a long-form video on. And the reason is that The Way the House Husband is a painfully average show. Seriously, for what is a pretty good setup for a comedy, a Yakuza member becoming a house husband, it really drops the ball in every aspect other than comedy. Because, to be fair, the show is very funny. It's not hysterical or anything, I wasn't on the verge of tears, but it did manage to be very consistently funny throughout. A lot of that is them using slice-of-life scenarios very well. Even though they make a house husband does a Yakuza thing joke every 30 seconds, it really is a decent pure comedy. It is a solid 7 out of 10 Family Guy gag, and that's because this show has little to offer except these characters doing their gag. For me, it's just a style of comedy that I don't really enjoy. I've been watching another show called Psyche K, which doesn't count for the purposes of this list, which is the same like gag comedy, and where it takes the time to develop its main characters and have serious moments, the way the house husband doesn't. You don't need galaxy brain level writing, but I want the characters on screen to mean something to me more than the absolute bare minimum. Every side character and most main characters can be broken down to 1 or 2 gags. And one more thing. This show looks like I've already been showing you the clips, but this show is a collection of animated manga panels. It looks like something from a Webtoons ad mobile game, not something made from a $400 billion corporation. It's really frustrating because I don't want to hate on Slice of Life shows or the animators that were doing the best they could, but this show really needed a direction and some budget because as is, it's still a decent, pretty funny show, but it so easily could have been a great show with just a little bit of tweak. If it sounds interesting, probably just read the manga, probably love better animation. Alright, let's do the shows that I think are good now. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a good show that becomes great in its final episode. This one is also a Netflix original, but seems to be given an actual budget, because this show looks phenomenal. I'm not a big cyberpunk connoisseur, but even I can tell that this is a damn good interpretation. The cities, the colors, the questionable haircuts, everything about this world screams cyberpunk. The story is also really good. David, our main character, is one of the most well-written, dynamic characters I have seen. He starts off kind of slow, but he really grows into a great character over the show, and especially the ending, which don't even get me started. The ending to this show is perfect. Even if I despised every other episode, it would be worth it to see that absolutely phenomenal ending. It is truly a brilliant payoff. Overall, I would say that it has an amazing story, great characters, and a brilliant conclusion. For the most part, there are some issues with the show, and they mainly come down to a key shift midway through the series. Without spoiling it, most of my enjoyment comes from a serious character shift in episode 6, and it really changes the direction of the show into something much more interesting. I still enjoy the fish out of water Band of Misfits thing that they have going on before the shift. If the show was able to cut out some of the side characters that don't matter in episodes 1 through 5, or just have 1 or 2 more episodes, the series would feel a lot smoother. For example, one of the main villains is this super robo-human called Atom Smasher. He works as a really good intimidating villain, but if he had had just a little bit more screen presence, he would have been amazing. Ultimately, I am being semantic. The show has a really interesting struggle, a beautiful world, and an absolutely brilliant conclusion. It's just 12 episodes, so if it sounds good, I urge you to seek it out. It is well worth your time. But there are 2 more that are just better. Death Note is an absolute gem of a show. I think that it being my first anime set my expectations way too high. The concept for this show is so simple yet so genius. Guy with a notebook who, if you write somebody's name, they die. While on its own, it's a pretty good premise. I absolutely adore the mental gymnastics that every single character does in every frame. The chemistry, both intellectually and morally, between Light and L, the 2 main characters, is so good. The show has 2 central tenets, ideology and intelligence. And in every scene, every intricate and profound understanding of what those are beaten into the ground. What this means practically is that every conclusion in the show, mainly 15, 25, and 37, sets off 30 new plot points. It is a Rube Goldberg machine of intelligence and domino effect. It is amazing and ecstatic to watch. Everything in this show just builds so naturally. Even the final arc, which is generally considered to be much worse, and I do agree, it's very messy, is still able to build things and end things with an absolute bang. Death Note is, without a doubt, an absolutely phenomenal intellectual thriller. It functions not only as this galaxy brain feeling of a show, but something with a transcendent understanding of both morality and killing. I cannot stress enough, Death Note set lofty, near unattainably complex goals, and knocks it out of the park. It does have some faults. The Yotsuba arc felt like a random pit stop, but I can't bring myself to fault it. Most shows don't even try to reach this intellectual height, so how the hell am I supposed to bring it down for it? For me, this show is a rare 9 out of 10, and an absolute banger. Please, for the love of Matsuda, watch this show, and maybe buy some potato chips. And there's still one more. Vinland Saga is unironically one of the most transcendent shows I have ever experienced. There are very few shows that genuinely made me think differently about my life. It is up there with BoJack Goddamn Horseman as one of my favorite pieces of animated media, and it is currently, rather comfortably, my favorite anime. I don't even know where to begin to discuss this show. Actually, I do. Thorfinn. Thorfinn is one of the greatest main characters I have ever seen. The things that this poor soul endures and somehow still manages to endure into pacifism is one of the most satisfying and hard-hitting emotional transformations I've seen. The first season is this violent epic as this 12-year-old falls into the pitfalls of war and savagery. Now, a lot of people are of the opinion that season 2 is not very good. They say that it's boring and there aren't enough fights. I do not talk to these people. Neither should you. The back half of season 2 is where everything that Thorfinn has been through finally slots together and he evolves as a person. Also, even aside from that, Einar is a great pseudo-main character for season 2. There is some truth to the criticism regarding season 2 part 1, but the ends justify the means. Without season 2 and season 2 part 1, the entire show just doesn't work. The point is that violence and brutality are to be avoided. Shifting gears because online discourse, there are so many brilliant characters, even aside from the reflective role to Thorfinn. Mainly Canute, whose reverse transformation is genius, Thor's, more conceptually since he isn't actually in the show very much, and every single thing about Escalad's character. The show makes sure that every character and you knows the savagery of war. Occasionally it is a bit blunt, but for the most part, it adds into realism, which makes it more profound. Even more, just the stories of Vinland Saga are fun to follow. The many wars of season 1, the slavery and ideals of season 2. They're interesting, but they're also deeply layered. So please, I beg you, even if it feels like I've spoiled a bit for you, which not really, I would tell you if you have any interest to absolutely watch it. And watch all of season 2. You will not regret it. And that's my list. If you have any recommendations for my 2026 one or some long form video ideas, drop them down. I appreciate you staying here, subscribe, and Happy New Year.